Hello viewers, Super GT here, welcome back to some C-Class action on Forza Motorsport 6. So we're driving the BMW M3 1991 here, and actually it's a trend in this class, in these lower classes. You do see a lot of these older cars become more prominent, and that's certainly the case here. So the BMW M3 91 is a car that I have seen used very much in this class. It seems to do very well. The tune here is by PPS Ivorbigun, called Silverstone. That's all written in the description, just in case you would like to get your hands on this tune. So going past the Celica there, so it's clear I've got a power advantage over him immediately. Coming through here, taking a very narrow line in, and he's just going to pump me once and then twice, and then I'm into the wall. And he doesn't seem at all sorry by that, because he's just going to drive off into the distance. So I'm going to have to obviously try and do something about that, try and reel him back in and try to get back past him. I can't accept getting pushed wide into the wall like that. So hopefully we try to catch back up and go past him cleanly, show him how to do it properly, shall we? So last couple of corners here, Hockenheim short. I do quite like this configuration actually. It's good in these lower classes, I think. Perhaps the other configurations, the straight is too long, like the long straight leap and the hairpin, perhaps is too long for these slower class cars. But this configuration seems to be perfect for this kind of class. So through the first apex, hitting it nicely, just running onto the curb, a very dangerous curb, as they all are around Hockenheim. You don't really want to go over those too much. And this one here, I mean, some of them are safe, some of them are okay, but you do have to be picky with the ones that you do go over. So once again, middle straight here, reeling him in once again, as we did on the previous lap on this straight. And then this is the tricky entrance to this corner. You really have to trail brake it round there, braking while turning at the same time. It can be a difficult corner to get right. And on the infield corner here, that's actually clean somehow, and I just actually run wide on the exit. And as long as you keep two wheels on the AstroTurf, I think it is actually a clean lap, as denoted by the game. Obviously not in real life, that wouldn't be clean, way beyond the white line, but in the game it seems okay. So you can see here, actually it's a very kind of evenly matched race at the front. I haven't had the best final sector there. The Celica's actually got away from me, but we do know here the strength of my car is on the straight. So down this main straight I will start to reel him in again, looking for the curb on the left hand side, just running two wheels over that. That's just perfectly flat, that curb, so you can do that and you don't really lose any traction or grip. You're just extending the track really, and just gives you a better angle for the first turn. Through turn 2, a long corner, actually pretty much near enough 180 degrees, although it doesn't seem it when you go around. It just seems to go on forever. And once again, middle straight seems to be gaining once again. So it's this first sector where I'm good, and then it's the last sector where I'm not as good. So from here onwards, this is where I'm going to start to struggle. The Celica seems to have got onto the back of the guy in the lead, and I do apologise that I don't actually know the name of that car, but I'm not going to guess a wrong car because I often do that. Celica a bit more patient this time, so surprised he just pushed me wide, and then he's going to be a bit more patient with this guy. I guess that's a good thing rather than pushing everyone off out of the way. It's coming up to the last couple of corners on lap number 3 or 4, so just one more lap left to go. We're getting closer here. Just run over that curb though, two wheels over that curb, and it's really not a good curb that you want to go over because it's just got a massive groove on it basically, and you lose so much time by doing that. Car kind of hooks you in, and we've got a back marker here, and Subaru is just going to really get in our way and just going to punt him wide there. This is a really big trend. I recorded these videos in this lobby and a couple of other races as well, and there's just rammers in every single lobby, and normally, to be fair, there aren't normally that many. But anyway, coming past the Celica once again, it's got very close here. The front three, nose to tail, he's going to push me a little bit wide. I'm going to take a poor angle, and then as I get on the brakes I just slide, and unfortunately I'll wipe out the guy who's leading the entire race and put him down to second. The Celica goes through. Yeah, annoying. 100% my fault. I did send him a message after saying, yeah, no, sorry, that was totally my fault. I was put off a little bit by the Celica, just wondering if he was going to go into the back of me once again. He did kind of go into the back of me on the way in to that left-right section. But, yeah, still my mistake for going into the back of this guy ahead, so I'm not going to bother going past him. I'm just going to settle here for third place. So unfortunately, I think for him, he would have probably won that race if not for me coming in and ruining it for him. But I'm going to cross the line here and finish in 3rd place. So not too bad. A good start for the BMW M3 is an Alpha Spider, there we go. And our lap times were within 0.2 of a second, or actually 1.5 tenths. If you look at it, I was actually the quickest in that race, or the top 3. But unfortunately, I was actually finishing in 3rd place. So we move to Monza. This is the short configuration where we turn immediately to the right. And I've never actually seen this track ever used in any race in real life. I'm really not sure what it's used for. But anyway, we are in 2nd, looking at 1st place, not quite going into 1st place. And this track is notoriously a power orientated circuit, so you really do need that straight line speed. And this car is good, but in terms of straight line speed, it's not quite, the best. So obviously this is a game of compromises. If you have good something, you're going to have a bad something else. And in this case, I have sort of good everything, but I'm not great at top speed, unfortunately. So this is why you really need a couple of cars, or at least a couple of tunes for each class. So when a different track comes up, you do need to use a car or a tune that suits that circuit. So in this case, this tune a little bit off on this kind of track, but still we're going to give it a good go and see what we can get out of the race. So side by side going into this, left-hander just going a little bit too early, and we made contact, side by side contact, but I'm going to let him go there, take the lead, and he's just going to drive off at this point here. So you can see his straight line speed, he's got bags of it. A couple of laps later, lap number 4, once again the annoying back markers are out in force, and it's the Subaru, the repeat offender. He's going to come through and just wipe out the leader. So I'm going to come through to win the race eventually after 5 laps. So perhaps an undeserved win, but that's what happens in Forza. People get wiped out. We're going to move to the Nürburgring Nordschleife. So it's the full version here with the GP circuit and then the Nordschleife as well. So a very long race in C-Class. So I'm clearing the lead here, all the space in the world. And then the guy in the Acura Integra is just going to dive in really from nowhere. It's the same guy who's driving the Celica in the first race. So I think that was a little bit of a late lunge. Sorry to moan so much, but oh well, it's good though. It gives me a challenge to try reel him in and get back past, rather than just driving to the distance. That's always the most boring race in the world. When you start at the front and then no one challenges you, it's just a hot lap basically. Those are the worst races. This is a bit better. We got someone here to try to challenge, and we can try and reel him in. That Acura Integra, again, another car that really is suited to C-Class. It works really well from what I've seen. So there's a couple of cars that I've noticed, such as the Honda Civic, the Acura Integra, the BMW M3 that I'm driving here, the Celica, the Mazda MX-5. There's quite a few cars. Ford Mustang 69, I think it was the 65 version. So there's a fair few cars, and I've noticed actually now driving in online hoppers that most people are sticking to maybe 5 or 6 cars which really work in that class. So be driving in S-Class, you're going to see loads of Ford GTs, Carrera GTs, Celine S7s, and you're often seeing the same couple of cars used by most people. Now I've got back through into the lead. I can see that he has good straight line speed, so I'm just going to cover the inside here, and then as we brake into the chicane, just give him a car width from the outside, but do make sure that he hasn't got much room to deal with there, and just keep the position. So let's see how this car kind of handles the first section of the Nordschleife. An awkward left hand here, long corner, look for the late apex. So this is now the first corner of the Nordschleife. Let's see how the car handles it very nicely into there. If anything, the car has a tiny bit of understeer going into the faster turns. That's maybe one main downside of the car. As you can see here, on the fast downhill right-hander, not quite getting to the apex as I might have liked, but not losing too much time, so we continue on into a fast sweeping section of corners here. And these sections, this section here, I really like this one. Fast sweeping bends, car really loving it. And this is the ultimate kind of tune really I love on a car. One that's got plenty of power and just glides through the corners nicely, maybe with a hint of oversteer, or rather a bit of oversteer than understeer. I know I did just say it has understeer into fast bends, but a lot of the time it kind of just glides through nicely when you use the throttle. It does have that tiny bit of oversteer. At the end of the race, the gap developed to about 500-600 feet, so I was fairly comfortable, and we're just going to finish shy of 10 minutes. There we go, 9:59.8. So a fairly good run there actually, and this car kind of well rounded at the Nürburgring. Nürburgring is one of those tracks where you kind of need a bit of everything, not just full on power or full on handling. You need a bit of both, and that's why that car did so well. So we go to Rio National Circuit. Let's see how this car handles this circuit. This is more of a handling based circuit, so I'm not expecting to be quite as quick here as some of the other guys who might be using slightly better cars. So I'm just using the same car. So obviously with different tracks coming up, the same car isn't going to be as good at some tracks as it is at others. You can have handling based tracks, you can have pure speed based tracks like Monza, the one we did earlier in the video. So as the tracks change, your car's ability is going to change as well. So I think this track is more on the side of the handling guys, but still, as I said just now, around the Nürburgring, this car is well rounded. It has overall good handling, not terrible, but it's the long corners here at Rio, especially the first sector, which doesn't help this kind of car. So coming downhill, and again it's the fast sweeping bends, or going into those, a bit of understeer. So that's a primary weakness it seems. Coming through the fast right, the guy's just going to appear out of nowhere and just wipe me out. That's kind of one of those corners really where you need to really follow one by one, single file. That's really one of those times where you need to be doing that. That's no place to be going for a lunge really at all. It just doesn't really work at all, and that proved it really. You really want to be going through there. Single file, so our friend in the Celica's got into the lead once again, but we can try to pull him in and try to overtake him, see if it's possible. The Celica, I know, as we saw around Hockenheim in the first race, that it's a really good handling based car. And it's around these long bends here where I may struggle. The car feels good, but it might not be quite as quick through these kind of bends as that kind of car, the Celica. That's where I'm going to struggle. And the straights aren't massively long here, they're kind of medium length. There are some fairly long straights, but a lot of them are fairly curvy as well, if that makes sense. A curvy straight doesn't really make sense at all really, but not perfectly straight straights. Up here though, this is a good straight. Uphill as well, this is where my power should kick in, and I was about 180 feet behind, but going into the tunnel as we turn in here, about 100 feet behind, so reeling in about 80 feet there. So I really do have to make the most of that. Low speed acceleration uphill as well. It's through there you can see just how quick and planted the Celica is. Little chance for me to catch up through that kind of corner. And then coming downhill, this is the primary weakness of the car, the fast sweeping corners. And we're going to go in maybe a little bit too early here. There's a curve on the inside, very nasty one. Just going to catch it at the wrong angle and go into the wall of death, the Rio wall of death, and I have been collected as yet another victim of that wall. So down into 4th place, not good. We do have a race on though. We still have positions to gain in. Lotus Exige in 3rd place. We've got Camaro behind me there, I believe. So we still have a job on our hands to try to do something about getting a better position. 4th place at the moment, not too bad. But 2nd place is in sight, not too far away. So it is possible that we can do something here. Coming downhill once again though. A little bit better that time, so 3rd time lucky I guess. Not quite as close as I would like to be though to the 2 guys ahead. Straight line and chicane as much as possible. The car's still very good, and let's not forget, on what is predominantly a handling based circuit, the Lotus ahead there and Celica wasn't too far behind. The Lotus Exige actually gets it all wrong, goes a little bit too hot into the final hairpin and up the inside. And as long as I have the straight line speed now, I should be okay to the line. And I don't think the Lotus is going to be able to get back past. So 3rd place in the end, and not too bad a result. And overall, a pleasing car to drive. A couple of wins. I did about 5-6 races, including a couple of wins in this car. So overall, it's a very good car for C-Class, and one I definitely recommend. But there we go, guys. I do hope you have enjoyed a bit of C-Class action, so something a little bit slower, sometimes a little bit closer to the racing as well. And this is the BMW M391, very good car, tuned by PBS Ivorbigun. paint by Rai Racing, all in the description. Hope you enjoyed the video. Do hit the like button if you enjoyed, as always. Subscribe if you're new and like to see more. I shall see you next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.